Are they still the best team in the conference right now?
Yeah, they are. They got better, Greeny. They got better this offseason. We talked about it multiple times on this show. They fortified this offensive line with the drafting of Josh Simmons, the free agent acquisition of Jalen Moore. Rasheed Rice is coming back. They drafted 2 studs on the defensive line in the draft this year that they believe is going to help them as well. They got Brashard Smith in the 7th round running back at SMU. They are a better football team.
They can be better, but not necessarily be the favorite. Are they your pick in the AFC right now?
Absolutely. They have a track team on the outside. I agree with what Lewis said. When you look at their lack of explosiveness last year, it wasn't the same old Chiefs. This team has a chance to be way better than they've been the last 2 years.
What they're not going to do, I don't think, is coast through the division. And I think that's what's interesting about this year with the Chiefs. I think Denver looks like it's got a chance to be really good. The Chargers, I think, are really good. So I would still put the Chiefs as the best team in the AFC because they've won it the last 3 years.
Look at those analytics.
But yeah.
Equal chances for KC, Buffalo, and Baltimore.
Buffalo benefits from schedule and division, I think, to an extent that Kansas City and probably Baltimore.
And so does Baltimore. No, I think Baltimore also has an easier schedule. All right, Graz, let's go to the NFC.
Yeah.
Are the Rams the biggest threat to the Eagles getting back to the Super Bowl?
I still would put it, I still think the Lions, people are underestimating how good the Lions still are, I think. The Rams look like they're going to be great. I love the Devontae Adams pickup, but I would still say Detroit in answer to this question, and I would point out that the team that the Eagles had to beat in the NFC Championship game plays in their own division. So I think there are a lot of threats out there.
Lewis, biggest threat to the Eagles are?
The Washington Commanders. Look, and I think it's because of continuity, and it's something that we discount because we can't really quantify it right now. But the fact that all three coordinators come back, the head coach comes back. Look, don't mess around with Terry McLaurin, Washington. Make sure that he's happy and he's ready to rock and roll once training camp opens. This football team's on the up and up. They've improved this football team as well with their offseason acquisition.
Let me dive forward to the last one because I want some time for this one. Mike T, it's for you. You have a lot of experience with rookie quarterbacks in New York. You started Mark Sanchez from the very beginning. When should the Giants start Jaxson Dart?
2 weeks ago. From day one, stat one, as soon as the draft was over, put him out there and never look back. Here's why, Greeny. If we're the Giants, we'd rather win 5 games with Jaxson Dart with a great ascension than win 6 or 7 with Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, and some moribund offense. So to me, Jaxson Dart is your future. No excuses. Put him out there and let him go.
As an analyst, you look skeptical?
A little bit, only because, look, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying you got to let Jaxson prove to you that, number one, behind what, as Mike just termed, a potentially moribund offense, he can protect himself, that he's not taking a beating to the point where it's detrimental to his development. I watched that happen firsthand. I watched Patrick Ramsey get the absolute you-know-what beat out of him, and he was never the same because he was the best quarterback we had to put on the football field. You just don't want to do that with Jaxson. Let Russ and Jameis take them hits first.
Dan, I want to read you something. All of us on our staff, we all know Artie Dolan very well. He's one of our producers. He's from Brooklyn, and he's generally angry. And there's a video. I'm going to put the video up on the screen for us, Cindy, here yesterday of Jaxson Dart sort of just fooling around with the other quarterbacks on this roster. They're just, doing fun handshakes or whatever. Artie was aggrieved by this. He wrote the following. Keep Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito the hell away from Jaxson Dart. I don't want him learning from 2 guys who are more qualified to be on a sitcom about backup quarterbacks than actually being backup quarterbacks. Seriously, when you add Russell Wilson to the mix, is there a more absurd quarterback room in the NFL? So that's my question. Is there a more absurd quarterback room in the NFL?
As this video is rolling.
Look at this. Well, that's what he's reacting to.
Well, hey, it all goes together.
It's Artie. The opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of ESPN. They're just those of Artie Dolan, who's very bald and very angry. Yes.
I think he speaks for a lot of Giants fans. The Giants fan is very frustrated right now. It hasn't gone well, and obviously all the hopes are on Jaxson. It's a fascinating collection of characters in that quarterback.
What he did make me think of was, if you were going to do a sitcom about a quarterback room, you would put Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito in it, right? Like that. Those would be 3. Like right now in Hollywood, someone is saying, you know what? That's a winner. Let's make this happen.
Right. But going back to Lou's point, here's a great stat for Hembo. The Giants have allowed 133 sacks over the last 2 years. That's 15 more than any team. But at some point, you got to go and just let Jaxson Dart make mistakes and grow and develop. Let those other guys get to Netflix and do their streaming show, and let Jaxson Dart play good football.
Good job segueing that back to football, by the way. Go ahead.
Soft knocks, they would call it. No, I remember I was at Vikings training camp last year, and I had a conversation with Kevin O'Connell. They were talking, this is before J.J. McCarthy got hurt, talking about developing a young quarterback, specifically a rookie. And it wasn't just the physical aspect of, you don't want him to take this beating.
Yeah.
It was the mental and emotional one, too. And I remember Kevin saying, with a young quarterback, what you want to be careful of is you don't want to let the negativity compound to the point where it's detrimental to his development. And that, I think, is the thing. Like, bad things are going to happen to Jaxson Dart no matter when they throw him in there. So the question is, how prepared are you for that inevitability? Well, and I think that's what Brian Daboll has to answer.
We saw this play out in real time with Sam Darnold.
Sure.
We saw how he regressed immediately. And then obviously Kevin O'Connell saw exactly what the benefits are when you have a quarterback coach, an offensive coordinator, an offensive line, supporting cast, and how it can rehab a guy. You just don't want to start Jaxson off down that same role.
Right. The reason I push back on Graz, though, is why did we hire Brian Daboll? He did a great job with Josh Allen. He's developed quarterbacks. Like, your job description is get your players ready.
Right, but not every player gets ready at the exact same pace, right? So Brian Daboll's job is to identify that moment when and that may be week one.
But you had a good situation around a rookie quarterback.
Yes.
You had a great defense. Maybe the Giants have a great defense.
They
certainly have a lot of players.
Definitely.
You had a great running game, and you leaned on that. Maybe that's the direction.
Last year's Patriots were not a great situation for a rookie quarterback. They put Drake May in there week 6, and it did not break him. So that says something about the kid.
We'll talk more about quarterbacks on the other end of the age. That said, we're not going to get to the Lamar Jackson sound here, but basically he was talking about how we're coming back with a vengeance. Lamar Jackson is in that place. Josh Allen is in that place. That's every conversation about them. Yeah. Are they going to finally win the championship? It's not about how great they are. They're great. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are probably about as good as in terms of talent and regular season accomplishment as any quarterbacks that we've seen, maybe ever, certainly in the recent history of football. But there is something that changes when you win a championship.
I see a little bit different. To whom much is given, much is expected. And look, when you get paid what you get paid, like, the definition of greatness is make those around you better. And Lou, I get those stats, but like every time you get the ball, maybe you have to score. Hey, Joe Burrow, guess what?
But Joe Burrow did just that.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? And he still got hammered last year for not doing enough, which is kind of like, to me, I mean, look, Mike, I mean, you can literally put your team in position to win. Like, you have the lead, you give up the ball, you kick it off, and maybe your kickoff team surrenders a touchdown.
Well,
maybe you're a quarterback.
Rodgers.
Exactly.
They didn't recover an onside kick, and that's why they lost. Josh Allen walked off the field with the lead with 13 seconds left and lost.
In Kansas City, right.
Aaron Rodgers played 21 playoff games in his career, and his teams have won 11 of them, so that's good. So, but you can nitpick. You can say, like the last playoff game in Green Bay where they lost to 49ers, he had a bad game.
Yeah.
Right.
They should have scored more points that day. They didn't need to score that many to win. He would probably tell you that. But when you look in totality, he won it early. Like, for years, it was, can Peyton Manning win the big one? Can John Elway win the big one?